I'm having the worst week.
This is Scotty and Andrew, and you're listening to Fun with Horror.
Hello, everybody. I'm Scotty.
And I'm Andrew.
And welcome to Fun with Horror, the most wholesome horror movie review podcast in the entire world. This is the podcast in which two long-distance best friends stay in touch by taking turns giving each other horror movies to watch and discuss.
And I was lucky enough where I got to pick the next movie. And I chose 2024's Smile 2. But remember, stay to the end of this podcast where we get to hear what my best friend in the world, Scotty, is going to pick for us to enjoy and watch and discuss on the next episode. But without further ado, hi, Scotty.
Hi, Andrew.
How are you?
So much better than 2 weeks ago.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
Yeah, we had a week, but
We did. We did have
But thank you to everybody for listening, because I think we broke a first day record on the day that the Alien Romulus episode aired.
That's awesome.
That was incredible.
I know. I asked Cindy because I was apologies to anyone out there if they did know. So I was a bit cranky. I was just not on my A game on the last episode. So I asked my wife, I was like, is it, do I sound okay? Are you like, oh.
Which game were you on? Were you on your D game?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what that means, but somebody wrote it and I thought it was funny.
I like it. I'm going to quote
because,
that off.
It's 3 letters underneath A.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's all it means.
Thank you.
Wholesome.
3D game. Anyway.
3D.
Yeah.
I love 3D movies.
See? There you go.
Yeah.
But it's apparently I don't sound like too much of a snot. So at least that's what my wife says. So
you didn't sound like a snot at all. I felt
good.
like I sounded like a snot.
No, you didn't sound.
Yes, I did. Look. Come on.
No.
We both we were having a hard day.
We were. Yeah, it was just one of those. It was an off day, man. That's all
it was an off day, but we recorded a pretty okay episode.
Good. Yeah, no, definitely. I was a little self-conscious if I sounded like a snot, but I'm glad to know I didn't.
And I wasn't self-conscious enough. But you know what that means, Andrew?
What?
It doesn't mean anything. But because of everything, we did get another comment on Spotify.
Yay!
Our good friend Claire, who commented before.
Awesome, yeah.
Commented again.
Oh.
This time under the Alien Romulus episode, she said, excited for the shout out. FYI, I can only leave one comment. Therefore, I can't reply back to you in the original post.
Oh.
Lesson learned, people.
Yeah, that's good to know.
So we can reply to you, but then you can't reply back. So it's not really a conversation. It's still just a comment, but we still love it.
Awesome. Yes.
Anyway, she continues, I did not see the Forest Hills. Also, sending you well wishes and hope for rain in the new year.
Oh, that's really sweet. Thank you, Claire. That's awesome.
That's wonderful. Yeah, thank you, Claire. Thank you for another wonderful comment.
That's so cool. I feel like that should be a thing with Spotify where it can be a conversation. I'd love to be able to chat back and forth.
That would be nice. It would be nice. But hey, at least we're able to reply and at least people are able to comment. So
yeah.
If you're on Spotify and you want to leave a comment under one of our episodes, I don't know how because I don't use Spotify, but I'm sure it's easy to figure out. So go ahead.
There you go. Please do. We like to hear from you. We actually, you know what? We love to hear from you.
We love it.
Love it.
And if you're on Apple Podcasts, feel free to leave us a review and a rating and or.
I'm just going to say and. I'll say and.
I'll say or. You can be the and I'll be the or.
Oh.
And then that's how the boat will move. Get
That's
it?
true.
Or.
An or.
Yeah.
We're back, everybody.
We're back. We're back. We're not cranky.
Yay.
So what that means is that we're going to review Alien Romulus again.
Yeah.
Because we need a do-over.
And maybe I'll enjoy Alien better. You know?
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
But hey, buddy, guess what else happened?
What?
I went to see a couple of movies, and over on our Patreon, I actually did a little Scotty's Alone Time. It's only like 13 minutes long, but I did a short mini review of both of the movies.
Awesome. And no spoilers, so anyone...
Non-spoiler. Yeah. But I went to see Wolfman, first of all.
Yep.
I liked it. That's all I'm going to say. But I will say, buddy, I was lucky enough to get to see an advanced screening of The Monkey.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Which was directed by Osgood Perkins, who also directed Longlegs and Gretel and Hansel.
Mm-hmm.
He came out at the beginning of the movie to introduce the movie to everybody.
So cool, dude.
He was awesome. He was wonderful. The movie itself is very different from the other movies he's done.
Oh, yeah.
But it is a complete romp. It is so much fun. I had no idea that he had done such a funny, comedic movie that still contains tons of gore. I'm going to tell you, though, and everybody out there, if you have not watched the trailer for The Monkey, do not watch it.
Yep, I have not.
It honestly gives way too much away.
Oh, shoot. Of course it does.
I watched the trailer after I saw the movie, and I'm so happy that that's the order that I saw them in, because everything in the movie was a huge surprise to me.
Nice.
And if I had seen the trailer, it wouldn't have been. So do not watch the trailer. Just trust me. Go see The Monkey.
That's definitely one that I'm very excited about. I don't know anything about the story. I saw who was in it. I saw that it's, just a little bit about it, but I'm excited, man. It's definitely one I'm very pumped for. And after hearing your spiel about it, I'm like, yeah, this is shot up to one of my most anticipated.
Also, one thing I would like to mention, because everybody's been talking about him, is that Osgood took a moment to recognize David Lynch.
Yeah.
Who we lost since our last episode. And, as far as celebrity passings go, this one is a very hard one. I love Twin Peaks. I love a lot of the movies that David Lynch has done. Movies that you still need to see, my friend.
You're right. That's very true. I do. I absolutely do.
Osgood took a second and had everybody at the same time, at the count of 3, shout out their favorite David Lynch movie. Mm-hmm. And he said, doesn't matter what you shout out because they're all correct answers. And then, even better, this movie was the night after the day that David Lynch passed away. Beyond Fest and American Cinematheque, who put on the screening, they put on tons of screenings in LA. They had a little tribute to David Lynch. Just a short one, but it was very nice, and it made me feel very... I wasn't expecting to get teary-eyed before The Monkey, but I did.
Right.
And it was beautiful. But there you have it.
And I know you mentioned it, but just for the people that didn't see, what movie did you yell out?
I yelled out Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me.
Nice. That's awesome.
Which could be interchangeable with Lost Highway. And there are still David Lynch movies that I need to watch. So it's an incomplete list. I still need to watch Mulholland Drive and Inland Empire, which I own Mulholland Drive. I just haven't watched it, but I love David Lynch, and he was such a kind person, and I met him once, which was wonderful.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's right. I forgot that.
Yeah, I actually wrote about it on our threads, and it's one of because it's the Fun with Horror podcast threads account. It's one of our more popular posts. So
good. That's awesome.
Go find us on Threads, everybody, and Blue Sky.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I'm going to try and start posting on Blue Sky a little bit more because it's not owned by the same people that own Threads.
Ah, okay. Very cool.
Finally, before we get to our movie, Andrew,
yes,
you and I talked about other things that have transpired in the past couple of weeks.
Yes, we have. Yes, we did.
And we're gonna maintain the fun and fun with horror. We're not gonna get into a lot of serious negative stuff, but we do want to say that when we say that we love you all, everybody, we do love you. If you are any type of marginalized community, whether it's the trans community, the LGBTQ plus community, different races, different religions, we love you. We accept you. We have nothing but love. The only thing we don't have love for is any type of hatred, any type of segregation or racism or bigotry. We've said this before in different ways, but we just want to express it now that we are a safe place for you.
That was beautifully said. I'm glad I didn't say that because you just said it perfectly. And it's the absolute truth. This is a safe place. And as you said, we genuinely love you.
Well, the only reason I was able to articulate it as well as I did is because I was staring into your beautiful eyes, which, you know what? They always make me smile.
They make me smile too.
Okay, just wait. All right, go back. What happened to Lewis? When I showed up, there was something off about him. Like he was scared of something. He started freaking out and screaming, like screaming. And then he grabbed like this metal gym weight from like a bench press. He like just smashed his whole face in with it. What? Ew, oh my God, what? I didn't know what to do. I just freaked and ran out, and I just left him there.
Smile 2 was written and directed by Parker Finn, and it stars Naomi Scott as Sky Riley, Rosemarie DeWitt as Elizabeth Riley, Lukas Gage as Lewis, Miles Gutierrez-Riley as Joshua, Peter Jacobson as Morris, Ray Nicholson as Paul Hudson, Dylan Gelula as Gemma, Raúl Castillo as Darius, and Kyle Gallner as Joel.
Wow. That's a lot of actors.
It is.
And we'll talk about them soon.
Yes, definitely.
But here we go. Andrew, I saw this movie last year.
Yes.
And I've got thoughts. But without spoilers, we're not going to spoil the movie yet, everybody.
Correct.
Andrew, tell everybody, and tell me especially, what did you think of Smile 2?
You know what? I'll say this. It put a smile on my face. I enjoyed this movie, buddy. I enjoyed it a bit.
Tell me, how did you watch it?
I watched it at night on my couch in one sitting.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
right.
Huge. That is huge, everybody.
It's hard to do.
What did Enzo think of it?
He had critiques, but he enjoyed it for the...
Seriously, did you watch it with Cindy?
I did. Yeah.
All right. Did Cindy like it?
She did. Yeah. And real quick, just, I will say it took me 2 times to watch it, but really I did like 10, 15 minutes. And then I told Cindy, I was like, it's pretty good. I'm into this. Like, you want to watch it? And she was like, yeah, I guess so. And so I rewound the 10 minutes and then we sat.
You rewound it? You rewound the VHS?
I did. Yeah. I had
the cassette.
I did. Yeah. I had to bring it to the final Blockbuster before they closed down. So
now, compared to Smile 1, where do you place this one?
I said this at the end after we finished watching. I liked this better than the first one, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you though? Because you gave a look, and now I'm quite curious about our podcast today.
It's not just a look. I think you know this, and I think I don't know if you know this. Actually, I like the first movie a little bit better.
Sure. Yep. Okay.
So I kind of mentioned this at the end of our last episode, but I watched Smile 2, or I started to watch it for the first time the night before a doctor's appointment, and basically 2 nights before I was about to get on a plane and head to Florida to see my family for Thanksgiving week, which included a lot of other things that we needed to take care of while I was there.
Sure.
So the night that I started watching Smile 2 for the first time, I was already anxious about things. The movie made me even more anxious.
Mm.
I was not having fun watching it.
Yeah.
So I stopped it about halfway through and did other things that would take my mind off the doctor's appointment and everything. And it was just a physical, but I don't like doctors. Doctors make me nervous.
Sure.
The next day I finished the movie, and I can't say that even then I thought it was a fun movie, and I had problems with it. So I was really curious to watch it again. I liked it a little bit more than the first time, but I still have issues with this movie.
Okay.
I will say also that this time I was excited when you picked it, even though I didn't sound excited in our episode. So let me backtrack to the end of our episode. Because when you picked Smile 2, in my mind, I thought that I would be silent when you said Smile 2, and that I would make it a joke that I was totally quiet when you picked it, instead of like how we normally react when one of us picks a movie.
Right.
Because of our moods that day, the joke didn't fly as well as I thought it might. So I ended up just sounding really bummed out that you had picked Smile 2.
I'm not gonna lie, I felt bad. I was like, oh no.
I know, you were like,
else.
I can pick something else. But after we stopped and after I edited the episode and everything like that, I was thinking about the movie more, and I was like, you know what? I'm actually really excited that Andrew picked this.
Good.
And I decided that I was going to rewatch Smile before watching Smile 2 again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad I did, because it gave me a fresh perception on if I really did like the first movie better.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Smile 2, I honestly think that some things were made better. I think the director and the cinematographer and all that, I think in ways they were more skilled in how they made the movie. But as far as the story goes, Smile 1 affected me way more.
Sure.
That's all I'm going to say.
All right. No, that was perfect. I'm excited. This is making me very excited to discuss with you.
Yeah, it's going to be a good conversation, and we have a lot. I have a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
Ooh,
so
good.
We'll try and keep this our normal length, but it might go a little long.
Okay, everybody. Now that we have talked a little bit about this movie, we are going to really talk about this movie. So this is your spoiler warning. We are going to get in depth in the nitty-gritty of Smile 2 and probably Smile 1. We're definitely going to talk about some things. So again, if you're all right with spoilers, stick around. If you don't want spoilers, pause it right now, go watch the movie, and come back and listen. But as we do now, Scotty will be rolling a 20-sided die to see who will be doing the 3-minute recap.
That's right. You tell me when to stop, buddy. If it's odd, you'll be doing it. And if it's even, you'll still be doing it.
Oh, no.
I'm kidding. No, I'll be doing it.
Flipping a coin. Heads I win, tails you lose.
Yeah. Here we go.
All right. Stop.
Number 1.
That's me.
That is you, buddy.
That's
you
me.
are doing the 3-minute recap for Smile 2.
Oh, boy. It's all right.
It's okay, because just like I did in Smile 1, I gave Sosie Bacon a call. And I said, hey, we're doing Smile 2. And she said, I'm not in that, right? And I said, I don't care. You're still my favorite. And I said, and she's, you know what she told me?
What'd she say?
She said, call that B word Naomi Scott. And I was like, whoa, settle down, Sosie Bacon.
Jeez.
So I called Naomi Scott. And I said, Princess Jasmine, what's up? And she said, you know what? Here's what I wanted to tell you. I really hope Andrew does the 3-minute recap, because he's my favorite. And I said, you know what? Kyle Gallner said the same thing. And she said, well, Kyle Gallner is correct, and he's a fantastic person. And I actually love Sosie Bacon. And I was like, well, let me tell you what Sosie Bacon said. And then Andrew's going to do the 3-minute recap. So whenever you're ready, buddy.
Wow. High praise. I love that you know all the people that we do these, of these films. It's crazy. You're a popular guy.
It's nuts. Yeah. I mean, they all pick up my phone or their phones when I call. They don't pick up my phone because I picked up my phone and then I called them and then they picked up their phone.
That makes sense. That checks out. That checks out. Usually when I call them, they go, "How'd you get this number? Stop calling me. I'm calling the police." Anyway. All right. Smile.
Whenever you're ready, buddy.
Yep. All right.
I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime.
Okay. Smile 2 takes place 6 days after the first film. So we open with Joel, who is clearly in distress from the first movie. And we know that from the ending of that one, that the entity is now with him. So he goes to this place with some really bad members that have killed some people. They're, I don't know, drug dealers, bad guys. He goes there and his plan is to kill one of them in front of another so that it's transferred to the bad guy. However, a shootout happens and he accidentally kills both people and has a minor freak out. He hears something behind him and we see that there was someone else there that saw it, which means it was transferred to that person. When he goes to leave, he says sorry to the guy. Some more of the crew, the gang is there, and he decides that he needs to get out before he's killed. He runs out to the street and gets schmucked by a pickup truck and dies. We then cut to Skye, who is our main character. She's a pop star who hasn't been around for about a year because a year prior, she and her husband were in a horrible car accident where her husband died, and she got addicted to drugs and had obviously a very bad time. But now she's back. She's going to start her career up again. It's a big deal. She decides, though, and we see her getting back in the groove of things, but she, because of the accident, still has some pain going on in her body. Because she had a drug addiction, she can't get some of the meds to help her because she has had an addiction before. So she goes to a drug dealer to get Vicodin to help with the pain in her back. I think it's called Vicodin. But when she gets to the drug dealer's house, we see it's the person that saw the killing at the beginning of the movie. He is now obviously in distress. He holds a sword up to her. He's freaking out because the entity is following him now and has been for a little bit. So he goes to he calms down and says, "I'm getting your meds," and goes to the back room where she follows him because it's been a while. He comes out and inhales, if you will, the entity, as we've seen before, and then stands up with a smile and begins to smash his face in with a weight in a very brutal death, which she sees, throws up, and then obviously how this works is now she has the entity because she saw him die brutally in front of her. She begins to get the hallucinations like everyone does when this entity is kind of following them. So she goes to a signing. There's a girl smiling there and doesn't say anything. She also has a run-in with a very creepy fan, which we see later. And we also see his meat and potatoes. Eventually, though, so she continues to see all these side effects from this happening. Eventually, the guy that's kind of paying for everything says, "Can you go to this gala for me and promote this something with kids?" I can't remember what. She doesn't want to, but she does. And again, all these things are happening. She's going a bit bonkers. A lot of craziness is happening, and she's clearly losing it. But again, the show must go on, if you will. So she goes to this gala where it's kind of the breaking point, of everything that's going on with her. She looks out in the audience and sees her dead husband coming up to the stage. She starts talking to her dead husband, who's not there. Clearly, all of these things are going on in her head. She accidentally pushes over the older lady that's hosting this thing, which was brutal, and eventually goes into essentially like a health center, kind of a ward to help her out while she's clearly going through some troubles. While she's there, she kills her mom. She goes kind of crazy, kills her mom, and escapes with her friend who was kind enough to come and help her. She had kind of a strained relationship with her, but they escape. I forgot to mention, but at one point during her hallucinations and freaking out, she meets a guy named Morris, whose brother had the entity and unfortunately took his life, and he believes that he can help her. He says, if we cut off or if we stop your heart for a little bit, the entity will die and then we'll revive you. I'm an ER doctor or ER nurse or something like that. I can help you out. So anyway, after she kills her mom, she realizes, I need to get this out of me. She goes to find Morris, who leaves the room, and the entity comes out to talk to her, and the entity looks just like her. It's a lot of fun. And she eventually, pops this needle in her neck to try and stop her heart, but it's all a hallucination. Everything was fake. How far back? I don't know. We'll discuss that. But we eventually see that she, during this whole time, is now back getting to go on stage for this concert with hundreds of thousands of people there. And as she's out there to sing, where she just came out of a hallucination with some crazy stuff happening. The entity comes out and she inhales it like you do. And then she proceeds to kill herself in a horrific way with a microphone to the eye, which we don't really see. We see the aftermath, but we do see the audience reacting, meaning that everyone there that just saw this happen will now have the entity following them. So she just essentially, by killing herself in front of everyone, created probably the apocalypse. And that's how the movie ends. There you go, buddy. Yeah, better than last week, I think.
Naomi Scott will be so happy to hear that you came in just under 3 minutes.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, yeah, of course, going straight to the end, a lot of that is up for interpretation. You know, the obvious idea is that, yeah, there's a lot of people now that maybe have this demon attached, or it's possible that just one person in the audience, that the demon can only attach to one person at a time. We don't know.
Right. True. That's a good point.
And now that's one thing that the director said. I listened to the audio commentary, and it was a very, very good one.
Yay. Good.
I was actually listening to it in the hopes that I would get some clarity on certain things in the movie, because there were things I wasn't sure about. And I was like, do I dislike this because I'm not understanding what's going on or what have you? Anyway, he kind of even said at the end that it's a possibility. You know, the possibility is that multiple people are now, quote unquote, infected.
Right. Okay.
By this smile creature. I like that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Is there anything in this movie that bugged you? Or any quibbles?
I have, I have one quibble. One kind of major quibble.
Nice.
But I'm going...
not nice, but...
Right.
I thought you would say that you didn't have any quibbles, so I'm surprised that you have one.
No, I do. And I enjoyed this movie, but this one... So one thing that bugs me about movies and TV shows is that moment where everything was a dream. You know, you have that moment where you're like, oh, but it was all a dream, so it didn't really matter. And I did have that feeling in this one. I did love the ending, and I was, I enjoyed that she was, I don't know, hallucinating a little bit, and then was on stage, and it was like, oh, geez, we're there. But I was like, but how much of this was a dream, and did any of it matter? I mean, did any of this even happen? What did I miss? I almost, even Cindy said it, and I was like, I agree. Like, I wish that I almost kind of wanted to see what had happened up, like a flashback or something of what had actually transpired and didn't transpire, because I'm very curious what didn't happen or did. Yeah, it didn't break the movie for me, and it didn't make me hate it, but it was one of those things where I was like, okay, all right, I'll go.
Buddy, you took the words right off of my notes.
Yay!
Because I felt the exact same way, except for me, it didn't ruin the movie, but it did hurt the movie for me.
Fair. Yep.
I remember, so the first time I watched this movie, I definitely had this feeling by the end, like, oh, so all the stuff in the abandoned Pizza Hut with Morris and all that was all pointless and a hallucination. Like, that's not cool.
Yeah. Yep.
And all that stuff was so much fun up to that point.
I agree.
And so we are going to spoil Smile 1 because there's things I have to talk about. Because like you're saying, so Smile 1 had the same element in that this creature, this smiler demon or monster or whatever it is,
right,
it makes a person see things that aren't there.
Right.
It puts things in their mind. However, in the first movie, they were momentary things. It did get worse as the movie went on and as the days go on.
Right.
But for instance, at the end of the movie, when Rose is in the house and she imagines killing the demon and going back to Joel's place.
Right.
And all that. And then she realizes she's still in the house.
Yeah.
So it was like a momentary hallucination. She's still in the house. Whereas with Sky in this movie, all of a sudden, like, this whole chunk of the movie was all in her head.
Right.
And I was hoping that on repeat viewings that would get better, but it didn't really. The only thing that got better was that I was able to accept, I guess, that the things I'm seeing are not really happening and just kind of go along and have fun with them.
Right.
And be more impressed with how they were shot and stuff like that, how they crafted these scenes, which was impressive.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
I can't agree with you more. And that's the thing. The thing that bothered me even more after repeat viewings is, okay, so obviously when the demon is making Sky see things, like, for instance, during the signing and the
Yes.
little girl. Okay, so the demon was making her see this little girl who was just smiling at her and doing nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in that instance, we can probably imagine that it's just a normal little girl, and she's
Right.
just trying to ask her pop hero for an autograph and a picture, and this pop hero is sitting there looking at her like she's crazy.
Right. That's what I got for the thought too. Yeah.
Yeah. But at what point did the final hallucination start, and what
Yes.
was Sky going through to get her from wherever the hallucination started to the point where she's in this stage chrysalis about to come out and perform?
Right.
So, do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, that was my biggest question: is where did it start? And and maybe you can help me with one thing. I'm trying to remember when Sky goes up at the end at the concert. They do a quick shot of the audience, and we see her mom there, who's alive. And I can't remember. Did you remember if they show her friend that she had kind of an estranged relationship? Is she there next to them?
I don't
can't remember.
I can't remember, but I don't think so.
Because part of me is like, if she was there, then I would say, okay, well, then the things at the beginning where she kind of apologizes may have been something that happened. But if she's not there.
I do have answers for you because,
Oh, please. Okay.
in my view, the final hallucination started when Sky got back to her apartment, because she gets back to her apartment and then she has the big vision of all of her dancers
Yeah.
following her throughout her apartment and stalking her. And that part was brilliant, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
We might talk about that, but and then when they all converge on her,
Right.
and then you see what looks like that creepy fan. You see his arm go into her mouth.
Yes. Yep.
I kind of feel like that is the start of the hallucination.
That makes sense to me. Yep.
At that point, the demon has completely just taken over her mind and he's making her see things. Now, the only thing that would make any sense to me is that at that point, the demon starts acting like Sky. While he is showing Sky this huge hallucination of her going to this self-help center
Mm-hmm.
and then escaping and going to the abandoned Pizza Hut with Morris, all this time, the demon is actually pretending to be Sky and making her seem normal.
I mean, that absolutely makes sense. But also when she is in that abandoned Pizza Hut and it's obviously in her head, the demon takes on the entity or the look of her. And she goes, I like being in your skin. I
Right.
like being you or something. So that makes sense too, that maybe during that whole time the creature was and is now revealing it to her almost as well as like, yeah, not really,
Yeah.
but for us, maybe as an audience going like, oh, okay.
Right. It's a double meaning. It's
Right.
saying that it likes playing her as a vision of herself that she's seeing.
Right.
But at the same time, there are interpretations that say that the demon is actually admitting that he is pretending, or I wouldn't say he,
Right.
but the
yeah.
demon is pretending that it is Sky in the real world. But I wish we had seen something like that.
Yeah.
Like
I
some
said,
kind of clue.
Yep. Or even just like a quick cut of some things that we had missed. I mean, just something. I agree. I had that same thought of like, well, what happened? What did I miss?
And I think the reason it's not shown is just for the whole reveal of her being in the stage chrysalis.
Right.
The
Right.
stage cocoon. I don't know. I wish it had been done differently
I agree.
because it
Yep.
just cheapens everything that happens at the abandoned Pizza Hut. And even, I mean, I was so horrified at the scene where her mom is stabbing herself in the
Oh.
neck with the glass shard, and then the glass shard is actually in Sky's hand, and it's revealed, quote unquote, now, because this is all a hallucination.
Right.
It's revealed that she has killed her mom herself. And I thought that was so painful. That hurt my heart,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
But then, like, none of that happened.
Yeah. I know.
It just cheapens everything.
I agree. No, I that was my quibble, man. I totally agree. I think it
So-
could have been done differently.
Yeah, I think that's my only real quibble.
Okay.
I'll have to go through my notes as we're talking, but I think that was it. Like, it was the whole, like, reality thing. Like, if
Mhm.
you walk a fine line when you do things that aren't really happening, but you're trying to make the audience believe that they're happening,
Yeah.
you have to give the audience little nods at time, besides just a line with the demon saying, "I like being in your skin."
Right. Yep. I agree.
So before we talk about Naomi Scott, let's talk about the beginning of this movie
Yeah, dude. Yes.
and our beautiful boy, Kyle Gallner.
Oh, sweet Kyle.
We love Kyle so much.
We love gosh, Kyle. I
Kyle.
hope Kyle is listening to this, and I hope that he plays this on repeat daily.
Yeah.
Because we love you, Kyle.
Kyle, you are fantastic, and you're one of our favorite actors in genre films. And as much as I don't even ever want to go back and watch the remake to Nightmare on Elm Street, I would watch it just to watch Kyle with the rose-tinted heart and glasses that I have now. And to go, that's Kyle Gallner. Gosh darn it, he's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, heck, let's go back to Smallville. Let's watch him be the Flash.
He was the Flash in Smallville?
He was, yeah.
Wow.
Fun.
Okay. I love Kyle Gallner.
Everyone does.
Remember when we watched Strange Darling?
Is that for the podcast?
It was.
Oh.
It was, Andrew.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
of course I remember.
Yes,
Gosh.
of course you do. And we praised Kyle Gallner to the heavens.
We did. We always will.
Anyway, this was a great freaking scene.
This was, I mean, genuinely, from that point to obviously the Smile 2, logo or whatever, that's kind of what I had seen. And that's when I was like, Cindy, you might like this. Like, this is, I'm like,
Yeah.
this is really good.
So you
Those are
hadn't seen
great.
any of Sky Riley yet at that point?
I did. I saw a bit. I think I got to her hurting her back in the dance, but that was it. So I didn't know her
okay.
much. It was pretty early on. But just that opening, dude.
All a single shot.
Was it really? Did I not?
Oh, you
catch
didn't
that?
you didn't catch it? So
Oh my
okay,
gosh.
I'm gonna praise as much as I think the ultimate story and some of the hallucination stuff, there's faults in it. There's so many amazing things that Parker Finn did with this movie that I'm so impressed with. And this was not the only long single shot in the movie. This was obviously the biggest one.
Right.
But
Okay,
from the
yeah.
very opening of this movie to the part where he gets hit by the truck,
Yeah.
it's all quote unquote a single shot. There is one stitch in it, and that is when he's about to jump out the window and the camera goes from inside
Yes.
that room out the window. They had to do a stitch there.
Okay.
So technically it's a single shot up until that moment.
Right. That is wild. I am shocked that I did not. I usually catch that, but I don't know. I think I was just too wrapped up in everything, man. I mean, it's a great scene, but that makes it even better. I'm so impressed. I love single shots, so I'm shocked I did not catch that, but thank you for that. That makes that so
Yeah.
good.
Well, what
Wow.
I was going to say, though, is that there are a few single shots. This is the longest.
Mhm.
But there's a couple more long single shots in this movie that I had no idea they were long shots. And it makes me think of movies where a long shot is kind of the gimmick. And it's impressive, but you realize that it's a single shot. Whereas in this movie, a lot of the longer shots, it didn't hit me that they were single shots or oneers until I was watching the movie with the commentary. And Parker Finn mentioned it. He said, and this was another oneer that we did. And I'm like, oh my God, this was a single shot right here.
Wow. I didn't catch any of them.
Like, for instance, when she's in the wellness center or whatever it is, and her mom is there, after her mom stabs herself and she gets free of the bed, there's a long single shot of her going to the door and then realizing that she's holding the shard of glass, then going back into the room to her mom. And that's like one long shot.
That's cool.
And while we're on that shot real quick, I just want to talk about a behind the scenes bit of movie magic.
Please.
Because when you see her walk across the room, let me say this differently. You see her walk across the room after her mom stabs herself, and her gown is normal, no blood whatsoever.
Right.
She gets to the door. The camera is on her as she gets to the door, and then her hand comes up, and she's holding the shard of the mirror. There's blood dripping down her arm, and as the camera backs up a little bit, you see that her gown is covered in blood.
Right. Yeah.
Parker Finn talked about this, and he said that this was tricky, but when she walks over to the door, there's a trap door in the door itself that as she's there, they quickly had to coat her gown with blood, hand her the glass shard, and so that when she reaches up, it looks seamless.
That's awesome. I love that.
It's so cool.
Oh, that's so cool. I love stuff like that. That is awesome. And I would have never caught that. Like, that's crazy. That is so cool.
And then right after that, the camera has cut and blah, blah, blah. She's down looking at her mom and whatnot. And then there's a knock at the door, and it's Joshua. And he's like, Sky. When she gets up, as she goes to the door, she trips once. She does a little stumble.
Yes.
And then the camera follows her the rest of the way. That stumble, it works in the movie, but it's actually there because the camera would never get to the door faster than Sky or faster than Naomi without that stumble. So she stumbles to give the camera just an extra moment to get closer to the door so that it can follow her more accurately to the door.
That's cool. Dude, that's so cool. What an awesome scene. Oh my gosh.
And the last thing I'm going to say is when she gets to the door and she's talking to Joshua through the door and he's like, just like oblivious. And he's like, I got you this water and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't think Parker Finn said something that was so funny. He's like, I love Joshua's dialogue in this moment because Joshua is in a movie of his own. He's just oblivious to everything else and just experiencing his own movie.
It's true.
I love that.
That's so true. That is very true for that character.
So back to the beginning.
Yes.
Single shot, great scene. And oh boy, that truck hit at the end.
So right from the beginning, I loved that the first thing we see is Kyle sitting there with 6 days later. I was like, oh, I didn't know it was jumping like right. I didn't know how this movie was. I didn't watch anything or know anything. I knew Kyle was in it. I didn't know how. I didn't
even know Kyle was in it when I saw it.
Oh, whoa. Oh, cool. That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. So I thought maybe he was going to be like the guy that they meet. That's like, I've experienced this before. You know what I mean? That character. So I didn't know, but to see him right away, I was like, oh man, we're jumping right into this. Like,
did you remember the end of Smile?
I did. Yes.
Okay.
But I had forgotten that he was going to die. So I thought,
your dear daddy, baby, honey boy, Scotty over here. He did not remember the very end of Smile. He remembered it, but not clearly. So I am so happy that I'm not talking about myself in the third person anymore and that I actually watched Smile before I watched Smile 2.
Yeah.
Because I totally forgot. You know what? Here's what I want to say, buddy.
Lay it on me, man.
Because I'm going to go back to our episode.
Yeah.
First of all, I totally forgot that Rose set herself on fire at the end of the first movie.
I did not forget that.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm also going to say that when I rewatched the first movie, I remembered that I kind of criticized that when we talked about that episode. And I said, I didn't think her burning herself alive was as brutal and traumatic.
Oh, I
as
do
others.
remember you saying that. Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yep.
Well, when I rewatched Smile 1 this time, I totally changed my mind. I was like, dude, that is traumatic.
Yeah, dude.
That's horrifying to watch this girl that you probably still love set herself on fire right in front of you.
Yeah, brutal.
But then, obviously, what I'm going to say is that the first time I watched Smile 2, I had totally forgotten that. So I didn't really get the burning girl that Joel sees on in the yard as he's walking.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, this time I totally did.
Nice.
And I was like, wow, that's awesome.
That is. That shot was scary. I loved it, though. I loved everything about him seeing that shot. Just because it was like, it was dark. I mean, and it was such a good reminder for us to see that he's going through some stuff. And so I love that moment. But
you know what? I usually, we love to be transparent. I'm just going to say, while Andrew was talking right now, okay, because this is amazing. When Andrew was just talking, I gave him a little quick, like 1 second, and I took off my headphones because I had to do something real quick, and it was so fast. But Andrew just kept talking like I wanted him to. And when I got back, I put my headphones on, and I looked at Andrew, and I was like, I kind of gave a nod. And dude, without missing a beat, you gave the quickest little wink in the middle of your sentence without a pause or anything. And it was so freaking hot and impressive, and I loved it. So I'm sorry. I normally wouldn't have called out what we just did behind the scenes, but that was amazing. That wink was incredible. Wow.
Oh, man. Thanks, buddy. Whew, thank you.
Carry on.
Well, podcast over. I'm on a high right now, man. I think I'm done. I'm out.
I will jump in and I'll say the director of photography for this is somebody we've actually talked about a couple times. His name is Charlie Sarroff, and he did Smile 1.
Right.
But he also shot Night Swim.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Huh. I'm trying to think of some shots there, because sometimes I like when you can kind of tell, like, oh, that's such a, I'm trying to remember if there's anything where I'm like, oh, that I could see that. But I'd need to rewatch Night Swim and look at some shots there. But
yeah, I don't know if he has like a signature to his cinematography, but I can tell you that it's awesome. Like the whole single oneer, all the oneers in this movie, were just so well done.
Yeah.
All the upside down shots are awesome.
I loved them. And I loved too that after, Kyle, I'm just going to say Kyle, after Kyle gets hit, or Joel or whatever, gets hit at the end, that it makes that loop with his foot, which was horrifying after he gets hit by the pickup. I was like, oh, you're not coming back.
Just his foot? It was his whole body. Well, his whole body was torn in half.
Yes, but when it's zooming, like it's doing a slow camera roll to the blood and you just see his foot sitting there and then it continues. And I was like, oh no, that's, you're gone. But I love that it does that. And then the camera flips and we see that it's the shape of a smile. I was like,
we see the smile right away, actually, because it is. But then when the camera flips, it's like, it turns it into an upside down smile.
Right. You're right.
And then just like in the first movie, then we have the title card, which is loud and obnoxious and great.
Yep. Agreed.
But then after that, after the title card, this is so cool. Something you would not have noticed having seen the movie once. But the first thing we see is a TV showing Sky Riley performing a video or something, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's a music video. Yes. Yep.
It is. Well, on a second viewing, you realize that TV is Lewis's TV inside his apartment, because you recognize the wall behind him and the sword. You see the sword.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, really
That's
cool.
Cool. That is cool.
And the Game Boy, I think there's a Game Boy. Or not a Game Boy, I'm sorry, GameCube.
I do remember seeing the GameCube, and I was like, I remember thinking, like, what year does this take place? I love the GameCube, but I was like, Is this from a few years ago?
Yeah. So
That's
let's
funny.
talk about some of the actors.
Please. Yes, please.
So first of all, obviously, we've already talked about our boy Kyle Gallner, our sweetheart.
Yeah.
We could just
Kyle.
talk about him the whole podcast, though.
Why wouldn't we?
My God.
Kyle.
Oh, we talked about Kyle Gallner also when we did Scream 5.
Yeah, we did.
Wow.
Yeah.
So much
Kyle.
Kyle Gallner.
We might as well make him a... What were you going to say?
What were you going to say?
No, what were you going to say?
I was going to say we should just call it Fun with Kyle.
Oh, I was going to say we should make him a host.
There you go. Anyway,
it's a win-win.
Win-win. So this is interesting to me because a lot of people feel like you do, that they like this movie better than the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of people really seriously, hardcore compliment Naomi Scott.
Yeah.
Now, before I say anything else, let me just say that yes, Naomi Scott is incredible in this movie.
Yes.
But I honestly feel like people forget how amazing Sosie Bacon was in Smile 1.
I agree. She was fantastic in that, and I don't want to. I don't want to take anything from her because she was great. She was great in Smile 1.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
People talk as if Naomi Scott like blew Sosie Bacon out of the water with her performance, and I think that they were both equal. I think both of them did an equal amazing job of being at this constant state of anxiety and fear and terror and trauma. It was incredible, both of them. But yeah, I just want to really stress how amazing Sosie was in the first movie.
Agreed. I absolutely agree. I will say, though, because since I do want to talk about Naomi Scott, there were moments in this movie where I genuinely, she played the part so well of someone going through so much anxiety of not only a demon, which is obviously a big part of this movie, but also there's so much other stuff that she has going on, this past trauma, her getting back into the groove of things. She's obviously a celebrity, so that involves some things that, I don't know, but she played it so well. And there was just moments where we see her face with genuine fear and anxiety where I was like, I am so stressed for her right now. And it's because of how great she is as an actress. Like I was on the edge of my seat for a lot of this because of how good she was portraying the character. So
I agree. I agree.
Highly praise her work.
I felt the same way about Sosie Bacon in the first movie. I mean, she was playing a different character.
Right.
But her level of anxiety throughout the movie and how nervous she was, and it was equally as good. I thought Naomi Scott was fantastic, though. And everything you just said, I completely agree with.
Yep.
And one of the things I will say about her acting is something that Parker said.
Oh, okay.
In my opinion, one of the hardest scenes to watch is the flashback to the car accident.
I was hoping you'd bring this up, buddy.
Yeah. It shows her waking up after this car has crashed, and she's upside down, and she looks over, and now you said husband. I thought that Paul was just a boyfriend, but I could be wrong.
I'm pretty sure they said husband a couple times. Like even when she's on the Drew Barrymore show, I think she says her husband, whatever his name is. I'm pretty sure.
Something I easily could have missed. So that makes it even worse. But she lets out this cry that is just so hard to witness. And Parker Finn was saying that during filming, it was so harrowing to watch her go through that and to play that part that everybody on set was just in awe of her. But as soon as he yelled cut, she would just immediately break character and start cracking jokes to put everybody else at ease.
Wow.
And he said it was just an amazing thing to watch, like how quickly she was able to switch and put herself in that place. But then, and he said in his words, then become like Jim Carrey afterwards.
That's impressive. I wanted to bring that scene up because I've seen a gazillion movies and I've seen a lot of car accidents in movies, but for whatever reason, I mean, probably because of her, this was one where I went, not that I ever would want to experience a car accident like that, but it scared me. Like I went,
Yeah.
I never want this ever. Like this was to look down to see her broken leg, to realize what's happening, to feel pain, and then to look over and see the love of your life. At that point, we think, because we haven't seen everything, but to see them with their head genuinely crushed in and staring at you, dead. I mean, like it was. I like looked at Cindy and I was like, man, I don't know how my life would be if that was us. Like, and I looked over and saw you. I don't know. I don't know what it would be like. But that was a brutal scene. Brutal.
But now let's jump to the second flashback, which is also an incredibly well done scene.
Agreed.
Because the camera is in between her in the passenger seat and Paul in the driver's seat. And this is where I'm going to take the moment to say, how amazing is it that a movie named Smile that features people with creepy ass smiles, how amazing is it that they were able to get the son of Jack Nicholson to play one of the main characters?
Yeah, dude. I know. The second I see him smile too, I was like, there's his dad right there.
Yeah. And the scene where she's at the benefit and she's going off the rails and talking and she sees him walk up onto the stage.
Yeah.
Parker Finn said that the color scheme when he walks onto the stage, which is the same as The Shining in the gold room, he said that was completely on purpose because
awesome.
Because they knew who they had there.
That is really cool. I love that. And I love that he was in the tux. Like it was cool, man. That was really cool to see him. Yeah.
But yeah, we find out that they're both very toxic to each other.
Very. And,
Parker said that was a very fun scene to do because they were both just trying to be as horrible as they could and trying to be the worst person to each other during that whole scene, and that they had a great time filming it. So
I bet. And I love too, like how you said, the camera's in the middle and it's kind of going back and forth to each of them. It just felt like it gets, like you said, I mean, they're almost like one-upping each other to be worst person. And just the way the camera goes back and forth, you're just like in this environment where it is toxic, and it was filmed really, really well. Like I was that whole time just like, I'm uncomfortable. I don't like being here. I don't want to be here.
Now, had you seen Ray Nicholson in anything else?
I did. Yeah. He was on a TV show on Amazon. Oh, shoot. Panic. No, I did. Yeah. And I remember too at the time because I didn't know that he was Jack Nicholson's son. But my brother was the one that told me to watch it, and I didn't finish it, but it was a cool show. But he was like, that's Jack Nicholson's son. And I went, what? And then once I watched a little more and he does a couple smiles, I was like, oh, yep, that is Jack Nicholson's son.
I haven't seen Panic, but I have seen two other movies that he was in.
Lay it on me.
I have to go back and watch them because I did not recognize that it was Jack Nicholson's son when I watched them. But one was Licorice Pizza.
Oh, I still haven't seen that.
Paul Thomas Anderson's movie. And then Promising Young Woman.
I loved Promising Young Woman. Who was he in that?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he was one of the douchebag frat guys. But I could be wrong.
No, that would make sense. Yeah. Oh, it's a great movie. Huh. Wow.
Yeah. So that was Ray Nicholson. We also have Rosemarie DeWitt as Sky's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she's been in lots of things that I don't really remember her in, but I'm sure now if I go back and watch, I'll recognize her. But
yeah,
she was in one of the best horror movies ever made, which is the Poltergeist remake. I'm kidding, everybody. I'm kidding.
Stop.
She was also in La La Land, which I love.
I did too. La La Land was great.
And evidently she was in The Boys.
Oh, huh. One thing I want to bring up about her and her character. She was great in this. She's a great actress. But that character, it reminded me, and I know there's more going on with this character. I get it. But it just reminded me of so many stage moms that I met when I was there as an actor. And there was a couple of lines where I was pulling my hair. I was like, oh, I've seen this so many times before. and I just am mad.
It was on purpose, buddy. It was
Yeah?
on purpose.
Good.
She was a momager.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that was on purpose. They did a lot of research into young pop stars and the people that surround them, including their parents and the way their parents treat them. You know, the Gemma was based on best friends. Like a lot of these pop stars have that best friend. And so Gemma, who was played by Dylan Gelula, who is in a movie that I recently purchased, but I haven't watched yet. Dream Scenario.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. I should watch that soon because it's one of those that I bought on sale and I keep forgetting that I bought it. So
Yeah.
I need to watch that. But she's in that, evidently. So
Cool. Okay.
Lewis was played by Lukas Gage, who, again,
I know him.
think you do.
I do. I know him from very recently from a couple things, which was there's a show called You, and he's on that. And then also, I don't know if you've watched it, but if you haven't, you need to. It's White Lotus.
Yes, of course I have.
So in season 1, we see a lot of him in one scene.
That's him. Okay.
That's him. Yeah. Yep.
So I knew he looked familiar, and I knew that if I would go back and watch White Lotus or Euphoria, that I would be like, oh, of course that's him. So that's how I feel when you just told me who he was in White Lotus. I'm like, oh,
right.
Of course that was him.
Yep.
Yeah, he was also in Euphoria.
Okay. Right on.
Did you finish Agatha all along?
Yes, I did.
So Miles Gutierrez-Riley, who plays Joshua, was in Agatha, and I believe only in the last episode, right? Or was he in maybe
I think
a
he was in
couple?
2. I think he was in 2 episodes. Yeah. Yeah.
But definitely the last episode.
Yes, definitely the last episode. Yes. Yeah.
So we won't talk about it because it involves spoilers.
Yes, but I liked him.
And finally, somebody that I did not recognize, but I think we've both seen the movie that he was in. Darius was played by Raúl Castillo.
Right.
He was in Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder's Las Vegas zombie movie.
Oh, interesting.
So I think it's another case where if you and I went back and watched Army of the Dead, we'd be like, oh yeah, of course, it was that guy.
Yeah,
I recognize him now.
Funny. Huh. That's awesome. Look at that.
So
it's a great cast, man. A lot of fun to watch.
Really great cast. Going back to Gemma real quick. So
yes, yeah.
I want to talk about her for a second. I will say one thing that was fun when I watched this movie again. So the first time I saw the movie, I noticed that when Skye is going through her phone to find Gemma's number.
Yes.
Right as she gets to where Gemma's contact is, you also see Gaga written in there.
Oh.
So this time on my second viewing, I paused the movie and I started pausing as she was scrolling through her phone. And there are so many fun little names. Like she's got Beyonce. She's got Billie, as in Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
Doja Cat.
Nice.
Fallon, as in Jimmy Fallon, obviously.
Right on. Yep.
Phineas, Billy's brother.
Right.
Parker Finn himself is in there. And then Grimes is also in there. So I noticed all those names. I'm sure there's more, but those are the ones that I noticed the quickest. And Parker Finn is also the photographer when Skye is having her little photo session in that really cool outfit. Parker Finn is the photographer. Yeah.
That's cool. I did not know that. That's awesome. Ooh, good ones, man. Good finds.
This was an interesting thing. So one of the reveals, I guess, in the hallucination, and you brought this up, is that Gemma calls Skye in the car and says, you know, we talked about this, where she's like, what are you talking about? I just got your message and I've been wondering when I should call you back.
Right.
Which means that every version of Gemma that we've seen in the movie would be the smile demon, which Parker in the commentary also alludes to. When he first alluded to that, that bothered me because I'm like, well, wait, she's in her apartment like that whole night. She comes over and hangs out with Skye, and then her mom comes to the apartment in the next morning.
She makes matchas for them and talks with her. Yeah.
Makes matchas for her and wait, no. Who makes matchas?
Gemma. But it was for her and Skye.
And Skye.
Yeah.
So Daddy went back and watched that scene a third time, and I noticed something different is that Sky's mom never acknowledges Gemma.
Oh, dude.
She just comes in and she's like, Sky, aren't you ready? Like, you have to be blah, blah, blah. And then as Sky runs off to change, there's just a quick shot of Gemma and she says, hi, Elizabeth. But you never see Elizabeth acknowledge that Gemma is there.
Cool. I love that.
I will say I do like that. I
That's
love that
so cool.
that the smile demon, knowing that Elizabeth can't see it, sits there and says, hi, Elizabeth.
That's cool. Oh, man.
The other thing that Parker mentioned that I absolutely love is that the profile photo of Gemma in Sky's phone, which is a picture of Sky with her long dark hair licking Gemma's face. That's her contact photo.
That's right.
That was the first thing that Naomi Scott and Dylan Gelula did together. And Parker was like, what better way to break the ice than to have, Naomi lick Dylan's face.
That's awesome.
You see that throughout the entire movie. You keep seeing that contact photo.
Yes.
Well, something I never really picked up on is that by the end of the movie, if you look at that photo again, when she calls Sky the last time, it's not changing, but you realize that in the entire movie, Gemma has this creepy smile look on her face in that photo. It's like this.
Oh.
So it's like just a hidden smile, which is another thing that Parker talks about. Now, I heard this at the end of the commentary, so I haven't gone back, obviously, to rewatch the movie. But according to Parker, there are hidden smiles throughout the movie.
Oh, man.
I mean, we see the smile in the road at the beginning.
Right. Yes.
But at the end, when when Sky and Morris are going into the freezer at the Pizza Hut.
Yes.
On the back wall, there's a cable that makes a smile with a couple of lights up above that make the eyes.
Oh, I did not catch that. That's awesome.
Parker pointed that out, and he said there's hidden smiles throughout the movie.
Nice. That's cool. I did not catch that or any of them.
Yeah, right? I think it'd be fun. I know you and I both love hidden things in movies like that.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I did find it more uncomfortable watching Sky go through this a little bit more than Rose in the first movie. Mm-hmm. And I think part of that is because Rose is more of a secluded, like she's a doctor. So she's not around a lot of people. She's around the people close to her.
Right.
That was uncomfortable. There was a lot of anxiety. But now you're dealing with a pop star who has to go through the motions of everything while also having this demon. And when she has the scene at the benefit, that was one of the most uncomfortable scenes in the world.
Yep. I don't like being uncomfortable. I don't like being uncomfortable in the real world. I don't like being uncomfortable when I watch a movie. And whenever that happens, like a scene like that, I have to like put something over my face. It's almost like when people are nervous, like for a horror movie and they have something like, oh, something's coming. That's me, but with uncomfortable scenes. I feel bad. I just feel awful the whole time. I feel bad for the person. I don't like it. I just hate it. I love it, but I'm just so uncomfortable. And so during this scene, I grabbed the pillow and was like, oh, I don't like this.
And it ends with her accidentally like throwing the old lady off the stage. Like, how bad can that be?
I know. I turned to sit and I was like, well, it can't get much worse. I said that. And then the old lady gets hit off the stage and I was like, oh, never mind.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
I know, it was perfect.
Oh my God. So I did forget to mention one thing with Gemma. And this is still going into the whole, is it reality? Is it not?
Right.
What are you guys doing? Bowie, Ziggy, what are you doing? Oh, I know what it is. Never mind. Sorry.
No, you're good.
So one thing I didn't care for, especially on repeat viewings, and knowing that Gemma hanging out with Sky in her apartment is likely the smile demon.
Mm-hmm.
The camera goes outside the apartment, and it's a very wide shot, and you see through the window, you see Sky talking with Gemma. Now, I don't like that because normally in a movie, when the camera does something like that, you're no longer watching it from the character's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So from Sky's point of view, she sees Gemma there, and the whole scene preceding that is Sky's point of view.
Right.
Suddenly, we're just at this outsider's point of view, and we
Right.
still see Gemma.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care for that because if you're an outsider's point of view, you would not see Gemma there.
True. Yep, that's a good point.
So that's something I just didn't care for. But
so one thing I want to bring up too, that before I forget, otherwise I will, is we recently did this with another movie, but there was a number of shots in this movie where we get our main character or a character in sort of the side of the screen, and there's plenty of room in the back where it's empty. There was a few shots where I was like, oh, there's too much room showing, like something's gonna pop out or something. We're getting a jump, and it didn't happen. And I was like, oh good.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah. And then we did get a big jump scare where I did scream loudly.
Okay, I'm going to talk about that in a second.
Yeah, I wanted to discuss it too.
Because one thing Parker mentioned, and I want to know how you feel about this.
Yeah.
He said that a lot of people probably went into this movie hoping to learn a little bit more about the demon, wanting to learn more about the mythology, which is usually how sequels go.
True. Yeah, that's true.
But in Parker's view, he thinks less is more, and that the less you know about the demon, the scarier the movie is. So that's one thing that initially it did bother me.
Oh,
and
okay.
I will honestly say I don't know how I feel about it now.
Mm.
But I was really hoping that the movie would further what we know about this creature or this demon, whatever it is.
Right.
And that's one thing that bothered me after my first viewing, was that it was just Smile 1 again with a different character.
Right.
With some really amazing moments, but it didn't really further the story at all. It was just, let's see how another person deals with this.
Right.
So how did you feel about that?
I actually was okay with it. Although that makes me laugh because you're right. So many sequels, it's always like, let's find out what this thing really is. And they didn't. So that's funny. But I guess I could go both ways with this. Like, it would be interesting to learn more about this character or this creature, because it's a very unique creature, really, in anything I've ever seen. It's very unique. But it is creepy that I don't know a lot about it, and it is just a smiling creature. I mean, that just wants, maybe that's all it wants, is death and anarchy.
Well, it feeds on trauma.
Right. Which, I mean, I guess would be a demon, loves anger and sadness. I don't know. I need to think about it, man. I don't know. Now I'm questioning things now. I didn't really think about it before, but now.
I mean, that's how I felt after my first viewing. I was like, well, it just followed the same story, and it's just a hopeless story about somebody that this demon has attached to that's going to go crazier as the movie gets on, and everybody else just sees them as somebody that's going crazy because they can't see the demon.
Right.
Which, that in movies sometimes that bothers me when somebody is going through something and other people don't believe them.
Yes. Yep. I get that.
So I kind of felt frustrated by that the first time I saw this movie. I was able to relax that feeling a little bit more the second time, which is why I was able to enjoy the movie a little bit more the second time.
Yeah.
But going to that and going to the scene that I think you're talking about that startled you.
Yes.
Parker did the same thing that he did in Smile. In Smile, we have a scene where Rose is trying to listen to the audio of when she's talking to the girl at the beginning, and she's trying to hear something. So as the audience, we're listening really closely to this silence, and then suddenly the girl is right next to Rose and scaring the hell out of her.
Yes.
So Parker repeated the same thing in this movie, except this time you're watching a video of Lewis filming his apartment, and he's filming this dark corner, and you're wondering if there's a shape there that the camera is picking up, and at the last moment, Lewis is next to her, or the demon pretending it's Lewis is next to her. And is that the part you're talking about?
Yes, that's exactly the part. Yes. I feel like that's like a cheaper jump scare. However, I will say that I screamed. And I wasn't for whatever reason. I don't know if I just was zoning or what on that moment, but even Cindy looked at me and was like, "Calm down." It's like, I don't know. That got me though.
I think I was expecting it too much.
Yeah.
And I could go either way. I could go in, okay, you just did the same thing, but with visual instead of audio. But it's the exact same scare as the first movie. So, again, it just adds to the movie treading the same path as the first movie.
Right.
Or I can look at it the way that Parker looked at it, in that it's the same demon. Of course, it's going to use the same tactics to scare the person, because the demon is feeding on the trauma of the person.
Right.
So the demon wants to cause as much trauma to its victim as possible.
I get that. I like that. Okay.
Until it gets to the point that it has caused so much trauma that that person is now, it belongs to the demon, and the demon can enter that person, kill them, and start the cycle again with somebody else.
Yeah. My thought, though, if we do get a third, and if they take the route where multiple, if not all of them, are now, hunted or haunted or whatever by the demon, I could easily see, with that many people haunted, them doing research and finding out much more about this creature, just because they're all suffering,
That's a good
many
point,
hands
buddy.
make light work. So I don't know. I could see that happening if we get another one, and if that's the route they take.
That's a very good point, and I like that idea.
There you go. Hopefully, Parker, hey, you heard it. Call me. I'll help you write it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's got to be different than this movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Some little things here. Oh man, that freaking scene with all the dancers in her apartment is just beautiful.
It was phenomenal. That's one of my favorite scenes I think I've seen in a long time, just scene-wise. It was so well choreographed and so creepy and so beautiful. Like, there was just something really beautiful about it. Haunting, but how they did it was like gorgeous. It was so cool. So cool.
I'm sorry, I got to go back, buddy. I forgot to say one
please.
thing about that jump scare.
Yeah, go for it.
So one thing that Parker said was that his hope was that the people that were startled by the scene in Smile 1 would fall for this one too, and they would scream again, and then immediately just be kind of funny, mad at the movie, and be like, "Oh, they got me again." With the same thing. Now, did you feel that?
No, I just screamed.
All right, moving on. One thing I also, because there's a lot of things I loved. I love the dancers in her apartment.
Yes.
I think in the end, I think that's a really skilled scene, but I think I like the scene at the beginning of the movie a little bit better. The whole Kyle Gallner sequence.
I agree.
But I do love that dancer scene.
I just love choreography. I'm so uncoordinated, and I can't dance even a little. I mean, it's embarrassing.
I disagree, but...
Well, maybe with a couple shots, but I can honestly... So anytime I see dancers, I'm just like in such awe, or people that can that are choreographing something as cool as that scene. I'm always in awe. So I loved it.
Well, you know what one of my biggest fears is?
Oh, yeah, buddy.
Her taking that IV needle out was so excruciating. And I love what Parker said about that moment, because he's like, on one hand, you have the mother advancing on her, the demon as the mother advancing on Skye, but then you also have this excruciating view of her taking this needle out of her arm and trying to take this needle, which is obviously longer than a normal IV needle, but he wanted it to be horrifying. And he's like, which one bothers you more, as an audience member? And, obviously I'm like, yeah, the IV needle. That was horrible to watch.
Yeah, brutal. And even when Morris is talking about it and pulls it out and shows, she's like, what the hell? Or whatever she says,
Wait, Morris? Are you talking about later? No, I'm talking about the part where she's in the room with her mom, and her mom is stabbing herself in the neck, and Skye is just trying to pull the IV needle out of her
Oh
arm.
gosh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. That was disgusting. That was so awful.
That was awful.
That was awful. That was
The needle
disgusting.
later in the movie didn't bother me at all compared to
Oh,
this.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was obviously, a fake needle, whatever, blah blah blah.
Yeah. No, that was brutal. Yeah. Ugh. No thanks.
I also it's a really small touch, but when Skye runs outside and she steps on the broken glass,
Yeah.
I do love the fact that after as you see her running to the truck, the SUV, you see her bloody footprints on the sidewalk.
Yep.
And then even when she's gone and then you see the cops driving up, the bloody footprints are still there. It's just, I don't know. It was a nice touch, even though it's all hallucination and nothing is real. The Pizza Hut at the end of the movie was an actual abandoned Pizza Hut.
Awesome. I figured with the roof, man. They had the roofs.
I've got some behind the scenes here.
Oh, yes.
Because he was very forthcoming with information and I loved it. So
this is a great commentary, dude. Awesome.
Yeah. The Drew Barrymore scene at the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
It's a minor thing, but it was one of the last things that they shot. So if you watch that scene with that in mind, you realize that Naomi Scott had already gone through all of the stuff as Skye, filming the rest of the movie before filming this scene that happens before anything else. I just think that's cool.
One thing before I forget too, I didn't write it down, but that moment when she's talking to Drew Barrymore, it was such a quick shot, but it's kind of brilliant where Drew Barrymore goes, how has this year been? And just quick cut to her ripping her hair out of the side of her head. Oh man. And then it goes back to the interview. I was like, oh, that was
the hair ripping. The hair ripping was brutal.
Brutal.
Which brings me to another behind the scenes.
Yes.
It's not really behind the scenes. It's just, they asked her to cut her hair short, Naomi Scott, for the movie. And he said one of the things that the short hair indicates, it's a new look for her. It's a new beginning for Skye Riley. But also the implication is that because of her ripping her own hair out during the aftermath of the accident and all that, she has damaged her hair. So the only thing she has left to do is cut her hair short because her long hair has been so damaged by what she's done to it. So there is a practical reason behind the short hair as well as the visual reason.
Right. Interesting.
He mentioned that her apartment, they wanted it to look luxurious, like somewhere a pop star would live, but they also purposely wanted it to feel like a mausoleum. They wanted it to feel cold, and you notice that except for the scenes where Skye is in bed, which also turned bad very quickly.
Yes.
You never really see Skye relaxing anywhere like on the couch or in a chair. She's sitting in the windowsill or she's sitting on the floor with Gemma. She never really gets too cozy in her apartment.
That's a very good point. Or she's chugging a bunch of water.
Now, this was amazing to find out. Simply because of the timing of us doing this episode.
Oh, boy.
The carpet in Skye's dressing room was a deliberate nod to David Lynch and the carpet in Twin Peaks.
Oh, wow.
So it was very, very interesting that we picked this movie to do right now when David Lynch passed away, and that there's such a huge nod that you see over and over again. You see that carpet a bunch of times.
Oh, that's cool, though. That's really cool. Nice homage.
This is one of the coolest behind-the-scenes things in the movie. The part where Skye is walking down the hallway to her dressing room. Joshua comes out of her dressing room with the smile on his face.
Yes.
And then she goes in the dressing room to find it trashed.
Right.
Now, her walking down the hallway and then her walking into the dressing room, those two halves of the scene were shot weeks apart.
Oh, whoa.
But they did it so well and it was cut so well that it just seems like it's seamless.
That is insane.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I really, really, really love that.
No, that's really cool because I would have never guessed that was there. Or wow, that's wild, dude. That's really cool. Some
Yeah.
cool stuff with this movie, man.
That's pretty much it. I mentioned the other behind the scenes things. I mentioned the rest during the rest of the podcast, but the only thing I have left to talk about is the music. First of all, we have two types of music in this movie. We have the score, which again, just like the first movie, was done by Cristobal Tapia Veer, who also did White Lotus, which we just talked about.
Hey, right on.
As always, did you hear the score at all? Did you think about it?
I didn't much. I do feel like, though, there was a presence that made it hopeless a little bit or something. Maybe that's not the right word, but just maybe uncomfortable. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah.
That's a great word.
Yeah.
So I was interested to listen to this score because I like the first movie, but his score, again, like other movies, is more noise. It's music, but it's very, like, I listened to the score to the first movie while driving to San Diego, and it was actually not an easy listen because it sounds experimental when you listen to it by itself.
Gotcha.
Whereas this one, Cristobal did this amazing thing where he repeated some of the stuff he did in the first movie, but he incorporated what sounds like samples of Sky singing or different aspects of her pop starness, if you will.
Okay. That's cool.
And I really love the score to this.
Nice.
As a matter of fact, when she comes out of the chrysalis at the end of the movie, there's this music that's playing that is the score to the movie. But Cristobal did such a great job with it that it sounds like the music that you would hear at the beginning of a pop star's set on stage, leading into her pop songs and everything.
That's cool.
I think if you watch this movie again at some point, you'll really appreciate some of the score choices in this movie that he did.
For sure.
It's really good. But I'm also going to recognize the songs in this movie.
Yeah, dude.
There is an EP out on Apple Music, and I assume Spotify as well, called, I forget, Smile to the Sky Riley EP. And it's, I think, 5 songs that are in this movie, Sky Riley songs from the movie.
Right.
And they are the songs in the movie plus an extra, the piano version of the song she's playing at the piano, like that one.
Yeah.
I listened to this last week after listening to the score, and man, I'm impressed because these songs are actually really good songs.
See, those are the ones I remember. I definitely remember those. And I remember being like, this could be on the radio. Like, this could be a hit. I could definitely hear this.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I forget the name of it, but the song that's playing at the beginning when she's doing the choreography dance and she hurts her back, that song's great.
Yes, I agree.
So,
And
yeah.
her playing on the piano, we already know that she has a good voice. She's been in movies where we've heard her sing as well, but she's a very, very good singer. She's very talented.
Yeah, she can play the piano. She helped write that song.
Oh, did she really?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Naomi Scott is kind of incredible.
Yeah. Holy moly.
So, yeah, go listen to that soundtrack, everybody, because it's really good. And I'm talking about the Sky Riley EP.
Yeah.
Because that's also what this movie did, which was kind of genius in its marketing. They treated Sky Riley as an actual pop star. She has her own Instagram. And even at this point, the movie's been out for a while, but even at this point, the Instagram is talking about her as if she's a pop star.
That's cool.
Like, what's your favorite song on the new Sky Riley EP? Blah, blah, blah. You know, it's freaking cool.
That's cool. That gives me, like, you would know more of this because I know you studied it, but the Blair Witch vibes, that kind of put it out there as like, I love that. That's so cool. That's really cool.
As much as I like the first movie better as a movie, there's things in this movie that impress me more than things in the first movie. I don't know.
No, I get it, man.
Do you have any more notes before we get to our 3 questions?
I just looked, and I think I honestly, it's dumb, but it's just silly. So when she is leaving the kind of wellness center after she quote unquote killed her mom. And she goes down and steals the gun from the security guard or police officer, whoever's there, and just immediately shoots it in the air. I turned to Cindy and I was like, I think the safety would be on. I don't think she'd actually shoot that right there.
Oh, not only would the safety be on, but there'd be like a little tab holding the gun in the holster. So yeah.
It was silly and whatever, but
it's all a hallucination.
That's true. That is true.
So reality goes out the window because none of it was real.
Dang, you're right.
Stupid movie.
Oh my gosh.
3 questions for you, buddy.
Yes.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
Question number 1.
Yeah.
What did you think was the best kill or death in this movie?
I don't know. I feel like you and I will differ, but I truly thought, at least a little bit, that Joel might have a little bit of a part in this. And the second he got hit, I audibly gasped when I watched. I held my chest and went, and so even though there's other kills in this one, that one got me, man. I just was not expecting it. Came out of nowhere. And I haven't audibly gasped about something like that in a very long time. So I was like, I gotta pick that because that was pretty cool.
I audibly gasped as well.
Yeah.
Even though people going into a street and unexpectedly getting hit by a truck screaming by has become a tired trope in horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
The way they did it in this movie got me.
Yeah.
And I thought it was fantastic.
Agreed.
However,
yes, yeah. What's yours, man? Favorite, best?
I got to go
kill?
with Lewis.
Yeah.
Lewis's death makes me so uncomfortable, and just the way that his face is more mangled after every single hit with that huge weight.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so gruesome. And the fact that I love how Parker just makes everything as excruciating as possible in these movies. And the last time the weight comes down and you see his face and then a piece of his jaw just like falls away and you see his jawbone.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
Like he didn't look human. I mean, honestly, at the end of it, it was just like, oh my gosh, there's nothing left. Oh, brutal.
And even though it's not part of the kill itself, I did love the sky cam, I guess you would call it. Hey, sky cam. Her point of view where you see her looking towards his face, but as soon as she like gets close to his face, she has to look away.
Yep.
I really appreciated that.
I did too. I liked that. Yep.
Question number 2.
Yes.
Do you think Smile 2 is scary?
I don't. I think it's anxiety. It's both a lot of anxiety. There were moments where you're uncomfortable and kind of maybe even on the edge of your seat, but I slept fine that night. I'm not scared. I don't think about the monster too often. But yeah, I'd say more anxiety inducing. What about you?
I don't think this movie is scary. Like you, I think it's anxiety inducing. I will say that if you are not in the right frame of mind, like I was, it could hurt the movie because I felt that the movie had too much anxiety for me the first time I watched it. Which is another reason I was looking forward to watching it a second time, because that leads us to our third question. Andrew, did you have fun with horror?
I did. I did have fun with this movie, even though I had a pretty major quibble. I still had fun with it. And it's one that I will watch again, and especially after this conversation, learning a lot more and even talking just about the music. It's one that I'm excited to watch again just to see some of that and hear some of that. So yeah, I had fun. And you?
I love hearing you say that. I did not have fun at all the first time I saw this movie. I'm just being honest. I did not think this movie was fun, which is one reason I was looking forward to watching it again. I was like, can I take this movie a little bit less seriously? Mm-hmm. And I was able to. So this time I had more fun with horror than the first time I watched the movie.
Okay. Yep.
So there you go.
Take it, man.
Smile 2, everybody. Smile 2.
Smile 2.
Now I'm going to tell you something very secret.
Oh, yes. Yes. Is this what you were going to tell me last? Or you said I can't tell you?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
How you doing, Sky? I didn't sleep last night, and I think I had some sort of crazy lucid nightmare fever dream, and it scared the crap out of me. Thirsty?
Dude, that is insane. I cannot believe
Right?
that.
Well, not that
Oh
I said that, but that exists.
Yes, yeah, that's wow. Yep. Things are different for me from now on. Anyway,
They will be. Yeah.
they always will be. Anyway, hey buddy, last time it was me, which means it's your pick. I have a few ideas. I don't know though. I don't know. I feel like I say that, then you throw me for a loop. So
I don't know.
I don't know.
You may have an idea.
Okay, well, I want the people and I want to know, man. What are we discussing next time? What movie?
Like I said, you may have one little idea because
Okay.
their hints have been unpurposely dropped. I didn't drop them on purpose, and I was hoping that you wouldn't pick up on any hints. But this is a movie. It's not a new one, not brand new at least. Oh, look at your face. You don't know what it is at all.
I don't know because the only ones I had are newer movies. So
this one, I've been debating about when to pick this one, but I really, really want to talk to you about it. I want you to watch it. So this is a movie that I have talked to my good friends over at Chuddle the Pod about, and it is called No One Will Save You.
All right.
You haven't seen it, right? You have not
I have
seen
not.
this movie?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, because I've been hinting, but I was also misdirecting you
Yeah.
about, do you have access to Hulu?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, that makes sense. Okay. Yay. I have been wanting to see this forever, so I'm really excited.
Good.
Yes.
Good, because I wanted enough time to pass between when I talked about it with Chuddle the Pod. I didn't want to do it right after I talked to them about it because, I wanted that episode to be its own episode.
Right.
But I wanted to discuss this movie with you in our manner of discussing movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted you to see it. I'm very curious as to what you'll think about it.
Yeah,
so,
dude,
as we've mentioned or hinted at, it is streaming on Hulu.
Nice.
So
okay.
if you have Hulu, if you have the Disney Plus / Hulu bundle, either one, you can watch this. You can't watch it anywhere else except for on Hulu.
Wild. Okay.
And I do recommend that you watch it on Hulu Premium without commercials.
Okay.
Which you will be able to do.
Yay. Okay, dude, that's awesome. Like looking back, I'm like, well, duh. But you caught me off guard with this one though. That's awesome. I'm really
I did it. I did it.
I am excited, man. This is one again, I don't really know much, but I know that I want to see it. So
good.
Hooray. Thank you.
Yeah. So there was a few movies I had in mind, but this is one of them that as I've said, I can't wait for you to see it.
Yeah, I know. You said I remember you telling me too. I cannot listen to that episode until and I was like,
that was my other question. You never listened to that episode, right?
No, because you told me not to. So I was like, I can't.
Yeah, well, I mean, it spoils the whole movie, obviously.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I did not. I never have listened to that one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Yay.
Well, there you go, everybody. No One Will Save You, streaming on Hulu.
Awesome.
Starring Caitlin Dever. And it was directed by Brian Duffield, who also was a producer on Cocaine Bear, developed Skull Island, the TV series.
Oh.
He also directed a movie called Spontaneous, which I've never seen.
I love Spontaneous.
Well, there you go.
Oh, that's a great... Honestly, I highly recommend that movie if you've not seen it. It's... Yeah, I'm not going to say anything else about it, but yeah, watch it.
there you go. So
Awesome.
everybody, Andrew kind of loves you.
I'd say kind of and a half, you know, like,
And a half. And that's the part that counts.
I think so. Hey, it's that half that matters, man. You can make all
Andrew
the
and I
difference.
both love you, everybody.
We do.
Thank you so much for listening to Fun with Horror. We're going to continue to try and help you have fun in the future.
Yes, that's the goal.
That's the goal. But yeah, thank you everybody for listening to us. This is we have so much fun. And
Yes,
we've got
we
some
do.
great movies coming up.
Yeah. Oh man, I know there's a lot of good stuff coming up. I at least my list I know will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, my list is going to suck.
I didn't want to say anything, honestly. Yeah, I've been telling people, I'm like, Scotty's list is usually just awful.
Yeah.
Just awful.
Yeah. Puppet Master 5,
Oh no.
Leprechaun 6, Hellraiser 7. Oh, it's going to be bad.
Or great.
Or great.
Because you know, there's someone listening right now that's like, are they really? that was my favorite.
Hellraiser 7? Oh.
What? I have that tattooed on my back.
Oh my God, I hope not. I don't even know which one Hellraiser 7 is.
I don't know.
Wait, I got to look this up. Hellraiser 7.
Okay, if you're listening and you're a Hellraiser 7 fan, you have to comment or something on this episode, please.
Hellraiser 7 is called Hellraiser Deader.
I wonder
Deader.
if that's the one I auditioned for. I auditioned for one of them.
Well, this one was released straight to video.
That's the one I auditioned for.
And I think this is the last one that starred Doug Bradley as Pinhead.
Oh, then it would not be because it was
the
to
one
replace
without
him.
Oh boy. Oh, you auditioned to replace Doug Bradley?
Dude, I auditioned. Yeah. It was so bad, too. It was awful.
Dude, you did a scene with Ariana Grande and then you auditioned to replace Doug Bradley as Pinhead. My mind is freaking blown.
Well, shocker, I didn't get it.
Let's hear it, buddy. Let's hear it.
No, I know.
Let's hear a line. Let's hear the line.
I don't even remember the line, but I remember
from
I
the
did
first movie. Just do the line from the first movie.
I don't know. Well, the only one I ever say is "Come to Daddy," but that's not him.
That one. That's not him.
I know, but that is my favorite line.
Come on, buddy. Say, "We have such sights to show you."
Oh boy, we're gonna lose.
Yeah, but
listeners.
be serious, as if you were auditioning for Pinhead. We have such sights to show you.
Don't think I was too serious in the audition. All right.
We have such sights to show you.
You were in the hospital. When you got out, what has the time been like between then and now?
I spent a lot of time looking inward